No Filipino had ever won a Grand Slam of any kind. Then a 17-year-old walked into Queens and refused to lose a single set. Championship point. The number 2 seed bounces the ball to stay alive, and the 17-year-old waiting to return it is wearing braces. To see how she got here, rewind 2 weeks, to the day the girl's draw went up. Her name sat beside a 10th seed, in a draw thick with higher-ranked girls. Nobody in Queens circled her as the favorite. Go back further to Mallorca. It is an ordinary training morning at the Rafa Nadal Academy, red clay under a flat Mediterranean sun, and one of the students grinding out cross-court forehands is a girl from Manila. She was not a stranger to Grand Slam Sundays. In 2020, she took the Australian Open Junior Doubles title and in 2021, the French Open Doubles crown, both alongside Oksana Selekmateva. By October 2020, she was the number 2 junior on the planet. So how does a former junior number 2, a 2-time doubles slam champion, walk into a major seeded only 10th in singles? Because singles is its own animal, and her singles ledger read thinner. The year before, in 2021, this same tournament had stopped her in the quarterfinals. Round 1, 2022. Annabelle Shu of Canada wins 3 games, then wins none. 6-3, 6-all. Nina Vargova falls 6-2, 6-3. Taylor Preston drags her into a second set tiebreak and loses it 7-6-1. Still not one set surrendered. Then the quarterfinal hands her a name you will be hearing for a decade. Mira Andreeva, 6-4, 6-0. The semi-final was the only real fright. Victoria Mboko, forced a tiebreak, got her nose in front of it and still lost 7-6-5 after dropping the first set 6-1. Which brings you back to that championship point. She takes it 6-2, 6-4 over the second seed, Lucy Havlikova. 7 matches, not a single set dropped. The first player from the Philippines to win a junior Grand Slam in singles, and the first Southeast Asian to claim the US Open Girls title since Angelique Wijaja 2 decades earlier. The trophy closed one story and opened another. Juniors don't stay juniors. The girl she beat in that quarterfinal, Andreeva, and the girl she beat in the final were about to turn professional, where the braces come off and no one is seeded out of kindness. Ayala would have to prove all of it again, against grown women playing for real prize money, with a whole country finally learning her name. It is the third round. Taylor Preston stands across the net, and for the first time all tournament, the opening set refuses to close. It drags, point for point, all the way to a tiebreak. She takes it 7 points to 1. Want to see how a 10th seed makes a Grand Slam draw look this easy? Rewind 6 days to the first ball she hit in New York. Round 1, Annabelle Shu of Canada. The first set is tidy, 6-3, nothing that makes you sit up. Then the second set begins, and Shu never wins a game. A bagel in the opening round of a major. The rest of the field noticed. Round 2 brought Nina Vargova of Slovakia, 6-2, 6-3. Same verdict, a different flag. 3 matches in, the scoreline no opponent could crack was always the same one. She had not dropped a set. Across the entire draw from the first ball to championship point, not one set went the other way. The last player from Southeast Asia to hold this same girls' trophy was Angelique Wijaja, and that was back in 2002. A 20-year door. She walked straight through it. Only twice did the field drag her close. The Preston tiebreak, and then the semi-final against Canada's Victoria Mboko 6-1, and a second set settled 7-6 in another tiebreak. Pushed twice, the same answer twice. By the close of her junior years, she had climbed to number 2 in the world, higher than any Filipino had ever stood in this sport. But junior number 2 and professional number 2 sit on different planets. The women's tour does not hand out bagels to be polite, and it cedes no one out of mercy. The first time Ayala would see her own name on the senior rankings, the number beside it would not begin with a 2. At a glance, it would read like a misprint. 6 games to love. That is the second set, and the player being shut out is Mira Andreeva. It is the quarter-final in New York, and you are not watching a match anymore, you are watching a message get written. The first set went to Ayala 6-4, tight enough to look like an ordinary afternoon. Then she took the second without giving up a single game. A bagel at this level isn't just a scoreline, it's a verdict. And it was handed to Mira Andreeva, a name the women's tour would soon stop filing under juniors. Being the second-best teenager in the draw meant nothing that day. Ayala made her look like a spectator at her own match. The final is the match people remember. The semi-final is the one that almost ended her. It is the second set against Victoria Mboko of Canada. Ayala has already banked the first 6-1, and this should be routine. It is not. The set has dragged all the way to a tiebreak, and every point now carries an entire third set behind it. She wins it 7 points to 5, the only tiebreak of her whole tournament, and the closest anyone came to prizing a set out of her hands. After surviving that, the final was almost the easy part. Waiting for her was Lucy Havlikova, the number 2 seed, the player the entire draw had been built to deliver. Ayala beat her 6-2, 6-4, and never looked like losing. Number 10 seed, number 2 seed, 7 matches, not one set surrendered. And none of this arrived from nowhere. A year earlier, she had reached the quarterfinals of this same tournament and gone home empty-handed. She came back and answered it with a run that never wobbled until the Mboko tiebreak. The cabinet already held 2 junior major titles in doubles, the 2020 Australian Open and the 2021 French Open, both won beside Oksana Selekmeteva. Back in October of 2020, her combined junior ranking had already brushed world number 2. Now the singles crown made it history. The first player from the Philippines ever to win a junior Grand Slam in singles. The first from Southeast Asia to take the US Open girls title since Angelique Widjaja won at the 2002 French Open. She had won everything the junior game could give her before she was even grown, which left exactly one direction: up into a professional draw, where the girl who dropped no sets in 7 matches was about to learn a hard lesson. The bagels she handed out as a junior, the women's tour was more than ready to hand straight back. September 2022, New York. 1 set already banked, a breakup in the second, and the number 2 seed across the net still cannot find a way into the match. To understand this final, you rewind 12 months. It is 2021, same tournament, same city. She reaches the quarterfinals, and there it stops, the draw closing over her before the second week can even begin. The cabinet was not empty. She already knew the weight of a junior slam, won in doubles beside Oksana Selekmeteva, the Australian Open in 2020, the French in 2021. Singles was the one line still missing. Doubles teaches you nerve. Singles asks who you are. Rewind further to a training court in Mallorca. A teenager from the Philippines hits the same cross-court ball 1,000 times until it stops being a shot and becomes a reflex. By that October, the work had a number on it: Junior World number 2. The 2022 draw was where all of it came due: 7 matches, and not a single set handed back to anyone. So, in the final, the number 2 seed got exactly what everyone before her had gotten: 6-2, 6-4. 7 wins, 14 sets, 0 dropped. No player from the Philippines had ever won a junior Grand Slam singles title. Now one had, and the name on it was hers. The last time Southeast Asia produced a US Open girls champion, It was Angelique Widjaja 20 years earlier, in 2002. She would finish her junior career ranked number 2 in the world, the ceiling of everything the junior game can measure. The women's tour does not count in juniors, and it was about to show her, point by point, exactly how far the top of one game sits from the bottom of the other. It is September 10th, 2022, and in New York a name is being added to a trophy more than a century old, a trophy that in all those years had never once carried a Filipino. Before her, the list of Filipino winners had one line on it, blank. She had already spent that season winning at Grand Slams in Melbourne and in Paris. But those were doubles crowns, shared, tucked into the quieter half of the sport where no country stops to notice. Singles is where a nation counts you alone, and in singles she had come to this exact tournament a year earlier and walked off in the quarterfinals. Close, but never first. A year later, she's back on the same hard courts in Queens, and this time it ends with a racket in the air, not a flight home. When the last ball dropped, she became the first player the Philippines had ever produced to win a junior Grand Slam singles title. One country, 100 years of the sport, one name finally at the top. To find the last player from Southeast Asia to win a girls' Grand Slam like this, you go back to 2002, to a teenager named Angelique Widjaja at the French Open. 20 years. Across a whole region, across a generation of players, no one had touched it. The teenager who broke that drought had been built for it in Mallorca, at the academy carrying Rafael Nadal's name, drilled into the world's second-ranked junior long before New York ever saw her. But a junior Grand Slam is a promise, not a guarantee. Widjaja had held one too. The senior tour keeps a long list of teenage champions it later forgot, and it had not yet decided which list Ayala would join. If this brought the match back to you, subscribe for the next one.